Well, welcome to our Leadership Speaker Series. This event is sponsored by the Sandbulte Center for Ethical Leadership in the School of Business and Technology. The center was created through a gift from Minnesota Power to honor its retiring chairman and CEO, Mr. Sandy Sandbulte. And we're fortunate to have Mr. Sandbulte with us here today. I'd also like to welcome two special guests from Elite. Al Hodnick serves as chairman and CEO of Elite. And Bethany Owen serves as senior vice president. Thank you for joining us today. And both Al and Bethany have spoke for this series in the past. Well, our speaker today is Nicole Johnson. And Nicole serves as vice president of human resources with Elite. Elite owns Minnesota Power. She has a bachelor's degree in accounting from UMD. While earning her degree, we talk about the importance of internships in our classes. While earning her degree, she began interning with Minnesota Power's Human Resources Department, and she has served there for the past 22 years. She's been a key part of several of Elite's strategic initiatives, including the formation of Elite Clean Energy and the acquisition of U.S. Water Services. She's active in our community. She serves on the Duluth Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and on UMD's Dean's Business Advisory Council. Nicole and her husband Kyle live here in Duluth with their two daughters. Nicole, welcome, and thanks for speaking to our group today.
Great, thank you. Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so 12 o'clock time frame to give a speech is not my favorite time to give a speech because I'm either right after lunch, so show of hands who just had lunch. Okay, so you've got the drowsiness factor. Or I'm standing between you and lunch, right? And so that's also sometimes challenging. So very good. So what I want to make sure is you want to try to be as engaging as possible. I am one who generally does not like to stand behind something. I've got a little energy, a lot of energy, as my colleagues will tell me. And so I'll be walking around and I'll be wanting to make sure, to the best of my ability, that I can save as much time as possible to have you ask me questions throughout the time. So we've got approximately 1 hour together. I'll give you just enough about me and my background and my company, and really weaving in leadership and then ethics within the workplace so we can have a good, robust dialogue all about what you're here for today is with regard to ethical leadership. So as we begin, I want to say first off, thank you very much to my mentors who are here in the crowd, Al Hodnick and Bethany Owen. If you want to talk about leadership and leading by example, Mr. Sandbulte, Al and Bethany are the best role models we can have within the organization. As Rick had said, I've been with the company for 22 years. So I was just joining the company when Mr. Sandbulte was retiring with it. And I have to say, ethics and a culture of ethical leadership doesn't happen overnight. So kudos to you and all those people who came before you and who you passed the baton on to make sure that we at Elite have a culture of ethical and strong leaders. So thank you very much, Mr. Sandbulte. I want to start off today just giving you, like I said, a little bit about my foundation, my company, and spend some time like I had mentioned. So my great mentor, Al Hodnick, shows this triangle all the time when he's developing and coaching and mentoring new leaders. And it's really, how are you formed as a leader? And there's three basic pillars or three basic concepts that's really helped shape me. One, genetics in my family. So Al will talk about genetics. It's what did my parents give me growing up to really help solidify some of the traits in leadership. I expand that because I am a mother and a wife, and so my family to this day, I learn things from them, and they continuously shape my leadership. Education is a key pillar. We're all here at a great educational institution. It sets the foundation of who you are. Your ability to learn is critical, and that's really what you're doing here in high school and college, and certainly your education does not end when you graduate. The world is continuously changing, so having that foundation of education will only help you as you go in the future. So whether it be certifications, whether it be ongoing classes, changes of different types of jobs that you have in the future, education is going to continue to be a critical piece of your leadership journey. And then finally, your experiences. That's really the sum of all. That's really from the time that you were born to the time that you die, you have a whole collection of experiences that you will draw upon as a leader throughout. So it's really all of those key things that help shape me and that will continue to shape me and that will shape you. So let's first just start at the highest level. Start with genetics and my family. My family is extremely important to me. First and foremost, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister. They are here, that's who I am when I wake up in the morning, and that's who I am when I go to bed at night. And when we talk about family, we think about what are some critical people in your life that help shape you, and what did you learn from that? For me, my parents taught me the value of hard work. To this day, they're 78 and they never sit. I mean, they're going nonstop, 24/7. They are on the road. For them, family was absolutely number one. Every Sunday, spending time at grandparents' house, always being there for each other in good times and bad. I'm the youngest of 5 kids, right? So how many of you are the youngest children? Fantastic. Now, my oldest sister is 7 years older than me. So we have a very close-knit family, 5 kids in 7 years. So it was really a team approach. All my life, my family's been like my team, and I continue to carry that whole aspect into my current family. So when I was growing up, as I had mentioned, we spent a lot of time working together, supporting one another. Always there with a positive attitude and a foundational belief that you can do anything that you want. Anything that you want. I'm truly blessed. And I know that certainly those blessings are something that I do not take for granted, and I want to make sure I pass it on to my 2 girls. My husband and I spend a lot of time talking about doing the best you can, hard work, personal responsibility, creating a foundation of positive energy that we know that we are there to support one another in good times and bad. How many of you are on a team? Quite a few, right? So I see football, I see soccer. It doesn't matter what it is. What do you do with it when you're in a team? You there to support one another? Are you there to, maybe you're not the starting 5 on a team or whatever it may be, but maybe you're in the background, but you get called up, you have to be ready at all times. And that's the kind of team that I love within the league. We are a team, we are a family. And so one of the fun things that I'm super happy that my mentors and leaders are here in the room is because the one thing that they teach us and they lead with us is that we are a team. It's a team sport. Whether we're at a board meeting, right? And so I'm just going to draw a little visual real quick for you because this is going to be careful what you do, Ellen, definitely. So we have quarterly board meetings. Mr. Sandbulte, you'll remember them. Right? Oh, yes. So a nice long table down in our general office building down on Superior Street. We have a variety of topics, and we have the senior team generally along with the board members that are having very interactive dialogue. And you would not believe the smart people that are at that meeting. So you may be up at the table contributing directly to the dialogue, or you may be on the back couches, right? And in this room, we have pictures of all former chairmen. Mr. Sandbulte's there. Bruce Stender, who has been active in this, is there. Jim, we have board of directors who have been speakers within this group, like Jim Houlihan and George Goldfarb, all on our board, sitting around this table. So we're in this room. We have very smart people. You're engaged in dialogue. You may be either at the front table or you may be at the back. And at all times, Al is so very good of making sure is that you, whether you're sitting on the couches or whether you're at the table, you need to be fully engaged. You have to be concentrating what's going on with the conversation. What questions are they asking? Because at any time, you may be called upon, right? And so this could be a preliminary mood in a bunch of other organizations, but I feel confident that if I need to call on my phone friends here, I will do that. So there you go. Al, Bethany, careful what you wish for when you come here. So that is a little bit of the environment at Elite. I'm going to talk a little bit about that more, about what is even Elite. But what I want to share is that your ongoing education is going to be something that you will want to make sure you have throughout. First off, okay, we just concluded Halloween yesterday. How many of you participated in Halloween activities? Did any of you have trick-or-treaters? How many of you have candy left over from the trick-or-treaters? Okay, so there's another thing. So it's not only lunch, but I also could have walked in here today, and most of you could have been in a sugar coma today. So that's what we have. We go overnight. We change the calendar to now November. And what's the holiday in November? Thanksgiving. And what do we do for Thanksgiving? We eat turkey. We watch football. That's my husband's favorite holiday, not for me, because it's a one-time a year I actually cook. But the whole meaning of Thanksgiving is take time to do what? Give thanks. Count your blessings. I talked already about how important my family, both at home and my work family, is so very critical to who I am. And I don't take that for granted. We have many things that we want to make sure that we keep thanks for, but having positive people around you is important. Having people who support you or who you support is important. And how we can make sure that we are there for each other. Sometimes you are the leader and sometimes you are the supporter. And it can all happen in a given day, a given hour. And so that's important. So as we think about giving thanks, make sure you're thinking about what are all those people that are there for you to support you in your journey. So as Rick had said, I came to UMD. I grew up in Ashland, Wisconsin, which is the northernmost tip of Wisconsin, right on Lake Superior. I love Lake Superior. I'm not afraid of cold. For those of you not around here and not familiar with it, it doesn't bother me. I still love the majesty of Lake Superior. So as they had mentioned, I went to UMD. I had actually started UMD thinking that I was going to be a chemical engineer. I loved chemistry. I loved math. I had a very influential chemistry and math teacher in high school, and I loved it. So I thought, fantastic. My dad's an engineer by trade. That is going to be the route for me. Well, I went to UMD, and it took me a very short period of time to realize I hated chemistry and UMD. So what do I do? So what are some of the key passions that I had? Like I said, I love math. So what other degree would be math-based, but analytical-based, that I could go into? And that's when I switched over to the School of Business at UMD, and I got my accounting degree. So think about it. I have an accounting degree, but I have 22 years in HR. How many of you think that you know what you're going to do when you have a degree? You have it pretty well planned out. Right? Life does not work that way. Well, maybe it does for you. We'll check in 22 years and you tell me how it goes. But for me, so I started with an accounting degree within human resources because I did accounting for benefit plans, which benefit plans is within human resources. And so a great start. I loved it. Internships, I absolutely agree. How many of you have an internship right now? How many of you have had one? And how many of you plan to get one? I strongly encourage it. It is the best experience that you possibly can get. At Elite, we treat our interns just like you would have a job right outside of school. Pretty much you were faced with projects and challenges, real life learning in a very supportive environment to help you grow and develop. So I strongly encourage internships, absolutely. When I started there 22 years ago, I did not think that 22 years later, I would still be at Elite and within HR. And so we talk about different types of careers, and you can have multi-careers in a single company. That's what Al always talks about. We are big enough that we can certainly do that. But I think the key thing is taking a chance, recognizing you will need to continuously learn, because now here I'm an accountant in HR. What do I need to do? Do I have a whole lot of background in HR? No. So what's the first thing you start doing? You get certified. You take classes. You reach out, find out who your mentors are. Who can you help lean on to help shape you as you go through? And so those are all some key life lessons that I learned in a very short period of time, which help demonstrate to me is if you have the ability to learn and the desire to learn, you can do anything. If you think back, each one of us started at some point without knowing anything, right? You know, whether it be a subject or a sport or an activity, you had to learn it along the way. And so I'm a firm believer in creating a culture and having the desire and the aptitude that says, I want to learn and I want to continuously grow and develop and push myself in new and different ways. And so those are some key aspects that I would stress for all of you as you think about your journey. So I started with Elite, like I said, 22 years ago. I worked down on 30 West Superior Street for 22 years. You may think because it's been 22 years working for the Sun Company that the company has not changed. That is so not, it's so not true. The company that Mr. Sandbulte left, which is in good hands, has transformed significantly since his time, during his time, and before his time. So here's who we are today. So currently we are a mixture of different companies. Elite is what we call our corporate. That's the overheaded corporate name. Most of you know us more locally as Minnesota Power, which is our largest business unit. But we also have Elite Clean Energy, which is headquartered here downtown. And as Al says, we took a rib out of Minnesota Power and we created a brand new company called Elite Clean Energy. We saw the desire and societal expectations saying we know that this nation is going to want to have more clean energy and we want to be part of it. So we created a new company, and this company is very successful. They own a variety of wind farms throughout the United States and will continuously look to grow. U.S. Water, as Rick had mentioned in my opening comments, we had acquired that company back in 2015, again with the whole notion as we are looking at meeting societal demands in this side on the water business. We have a coal mine that's out in North Dakota that we've had for a long time, BNI Energy, which is really trying to make sure that we are fulfilling the need within the state of North Dakota. And the two, which is why I'm going to mention them last, are probably the companies that you know most well. So how many of you live here in Duluth? How many of you write a check to Minnesota Power or send in? But you probably don't write checks. I'll take that back. You probably don't do that. You probably do PayPal or you do some electronic transfer, credit card. So Minnesota Power is our largest business unit. That is really the organization that was created over 100 years ago. So Minnesota Power is over 100 years ago. And we have transformed and have gotten into industries and sold off different companies, all in the nature of trying to meet the needs of our customers and through our shareholders. So I just want to talk, let's talk about what is really Minnesota Power. So at the basic sense, so you know that you send us a check to make sure that you have power. What goes into that? Anybody have any idea? So I'm just going to ask you one question. What was the first thing you did when you woke up this morning? Anyway. You turned on the light. Shut off the alarm. For some of you probably picked on your phone. Right next to you see how many snaps, Instagrams, or text messages I got overnight. I've got two girls, middle school, high school. I get it. It's the world comes crashing if they don't have a battery on their phone. So we are really in the provide security, comfort, and quality of life. So these are the things that when you wake up in the morning, you turn on your light, you check your phone, whatever it may be, is that we have approximately 1,000 employees that are there to help generate the power, transmit the power, and distribute the power so it's there at your house at the time that you flip on the light switch, or you plug in your phone, or you do whatever else you want. There are some times that, unfortunately, major storms happen, right? And we as an industry, an electrical industry, are there to help support in times of great challenge or great storms. I'm going to just, as we go here, I'm just going to hand out a few of these folks' flyers that tell a little bit more about Elite and some historic stuff. So feel free to look at it, pass them around. So we provide security, comfort, and quality of life. And really what we mean by that is that we recognize that at the heart of everything that we do is that we need to have power to make sure that we accomplish some of those basic needs. So one of the things that we saw, and what we're very proud of, is, as I mentioned, is that when there's a severe storm, we call upon, and if it's beyond the ability of our own employees to serve and restore, that we call on our other utility partners to help. We call it mutual aid. It's really banding together as an industry to make sure at the end of the day we get your power back on as soon as possible. So in last year, you may recall there's a huge hurricane in Puerto Rico, right? How many of you remember Hurricane Maria? Significant. People were out of power for months and months and months. So as an industry, we said, how do we help support the people in Puerto Rico? And we were very happy and pleased that our employees raised their hand and said, yes, we want to go help support and bring back power to the Puerto Ricans. This is a great picture of, these are not just ours. So we had a couple of crews that went down there. This is an example of a whole bunch of a freighter full of line trucks, right? If you can probably imagine the sight, if you were on the island of Puerto Rico and here comes this big freighter with all these line trucks, it's probably like, hallelujah. How many of you, when you have no power and you see the Minnesota Power trucks shine up, you're like, oh my gosh, amen, they're coming. So we started, the industry started together, pulled together, and we're here to help support. So here's, like I said, is we had called our employees to volunteer to go and help the people of Puerto Rico. We started with a couple of logistics people, as you can imagine, major disarray, trying to get all these different people to come in to help support with the infrastructure that was lacking. It was a huge challenge. And so we had two crews. Each crew had about 16 to 20 people on a crew, and they were there for a month each. So our employees said we will leave our families for about a month to go and help. So here is kind of the terrain that we had, our employees had worked through, and as you can imagine, it's like a jungle. It's not, if you think living in woodland with all the trees there, it might be challenging. Imagine that you're in Puerto Rico. And so they were working at great heights, extreme conditions, heat and the like, but all again to make sure we're providing security, comfort, and quality of life. And so for the first crew that was there, they were there almost a month. They were working almost a month, and they had not been able to turn on anyone's power because they were spending so much time trying to get the basic infrastructure. And on the last day, they were able to turn on power. And this is a video, you may have seen it. Every time I see it, I get chills. I'm hoping, do we have sound? Yes. We'll see? Yep. Probably should check that. Yeah, I think so.
Rick,
Yes.
is it on the panel there?
Try it.
Breaker on? Excellent! Minnesota forward!
So can you imagine after 4 months of not having any power, the happiness of that fellow? So I love that. I like Minnesota Power too. So that's a little bit about who we are as an industry. That's a little bit who we are as an organization from the basic sense. But I will tell you, we are, when I think about the company, I think of it much more than that, as do our leaders here that are in the room. So we talk a lot about people, culture, leadership, and values, and the importance of having that as a differentiator of who we are compared to anybody else. And so we have been successful for over 100 years because of our people. Our people have been helped shape strategy, help implement strategy, and to help change in the event of environmental changes. And so when we talk about our talent strategy, we recognize that we achieve success through people. And so we need to have full investment in our people at all times. And so as it relates to this class, we have to be grounded in something. And we have core values that we are grounded in, and we talk about all day long. So who we are and where we are going, we call as our boundless, is our strategy. Our core values are the following: safety. It is never okay for someone to get hurt. We are on a journey to zero injury. We believe we can achieve that. So we start and end our day, as you can imagine, in a very in an environment that there's quite a few safety hazards. And so making sure that we are here to make sure we are protecting ourselves, our employees, and our coworkers, to make sure they go home so they can see their family each and every day, is extremely important to us. We also recognize the value of community. We spend a lot of time working and engaging in community relations, whether it be coaching a Little League team, giving our time, our talent, our treasure. It's all extremely important to us. Foundational giving back in the form of being part of communities and government. So we have right now Councillor Eric Fordland, our employee, who sits now on the Duluth City Council, recognizing that we need to help shape the communities and give back to make things a better place. So community is absolutely critical. Employee development, ongoing learning, ongoing talent development. As I had mentioned, the world is continuously changing, and we as an organization need to change with it. And we need to provide the skills and the tools and the resources for employees to make sure that they are adapt and able to anticipate, lead, and support change. We also have critical that we have the utmost integrity. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit more. I'll leave that one in a moment because we're going to come back to it in more detail. And the last one is environmental stewardship. So making sure that we are balancing stakeholders and advancing to make sure we have a cleaner environment, which is all part of our Energy Forward plan. In addition, we support certain things such as military. So this, Beyond the Yellow Ribbon, we are very proud that Elite was the first company in the city of Duluth to earn the state of Minnesota Yellow Ribbon designation, which is really all about making sure you have the resources and the programs there to help support military personnel and their families. That's critical. And as you can see in the bottom here is sustainability. As I had mentioned, that's a core value, and it's something that we are always balancing to make sure all the decisions we make are balancing people, prosperity, and the planet. So I want to move then to the final thing, which is really at the heart of what this is at, is taking leadership, taking all the things that we talked about, and now applying it every day in ethics and integrity. So ethics and integrity is not just something that we have in a core value that we put on the wall and just let it sit there in a poster. It's something that we live and breathe every day. We have discussions about it. We have trainings on it. We think about it like I had said, in meetings, in decisions we make, how we approach one another. At its basic form, we call it right results, right way. Right? You can achieve a certain result, but if you don't do it in the right way, where are you at? So achieving right results the right way is absolutely critical. This is our code of business conduct. And we call it, it's living our values, integrity. We cultivate a work environment that requires honesty and the highest ethical standards. This is kind of our playbook. For those of you in sports, right, you have a playbook. You kind of understand where are the things that we need to look at, where are the things we need to be mindful of, and what's going to guide our decisions. This is our playbook. We also, it's very timely because this week at Al's senior leadership meeting, we had our annual ethics refresher. And it's not just something we do once, we obviously have once a year formal training, right? Like I mentioned, we have ethics decisions and discussions at all times. And this can happen in a variety of different ways. So here's a couple of things, and it doesn't take long before you pick up a newspaper or go online and you can find an ethical dilemma all the time. All the time. Pick it. And I don't care if you're in a small little town, if you're a major city, or in the city of Duluth, it doesn't matter. There's ethical dilemmas that are happening every single day and to all types of people, right? It's really interesting. Sometimes when we have our ethics training, we will have brought people in from the Department of Corrections, white-collar crime, telling us how they thought they were just, for one moment they stepped over the line and they got caught. And what do we need to do to make sure from our employees' perspective that we have awareness that we don't put ourselves into that kind of situation. So what are some of the kind of ethical dilemmas do you think that show up at work? Raise your hand. Not all at once, please. Yes?
Employees using company resources.
Employees using company resources, absolutely. Maybe I'll take that piece of equipment home. I've got some yard work to do, right? Who knew? Right. That's a good one. What else? Anybody? Yeah.
Being asked by your boss to do something that you know isn't appropriate for your job.
Yeah, being asked by your boss to be doing something that you don't know. How many of you have ever been conflicted? Somebody asked you to do something that you did not feel was right, but you felt you were in a position because of authority or a teacher or a friend or somebody that you felt obligated to do something. Anybody? Yeah, that happens. So what's your moral compass? What are those values that you want to think about? And unfortunately, sometimes what do you need to do to go around? Maybe it's that leader that you're not comfortable with, and so what's your outlet? Who do you talk to? And so I say, when in doubt, ask. For us, we talk about we have a number of outlets to ask, so if you're not sure what to do, ask. Whether it be a supervisor, whether it be HR. For us, we have an integrity hotline, independent outside call center that they will take it. They will sort it through. It actually goes to Bethany, our Chief Legal and Administrative Officer. All anonymous, but it will get dealt with and will provide the answers to the people. Right? When in doubt, ask. Any other ones? How many of you have watched baseball? How many of you watched the World Series? Who is aware of any of the controversies surrounding baseball?
The drug use.
Okay, so drug use, that's a great example. So drug use, absolutely. So when does it cross a line that I was taking herbal performing versus, right, something else? Absolutely. So that's a great example. That's a great example. Who else? Anybody? How many of you have a phone on you right now? Shut up. Raise them. Pull them out. Great. Pretty much everybody. So this Al is a huge baseball fan. So it doesn't matter if it's business or it's in sports. So in our session here this week, we brought forth 3 articles, all very hot topics. This one, it's time for the MLB to stop the rampant espionage of sign stealing. Interesting. When does it go from being a tool, right, your phone, pictures, video, to now you've crossed a line and you're doing something in an unethical manner? Interesting, right? So for those of you on a sports team, think about that. It was really interesting that one of our colleagues at our discussion here this week talked about, he was a UND or NDSU? UND? Football player. And he had talked about one of the most impactful examples of ethics that he had on the football team is that, as you may recall, or you probably know, a lot of times they'll have the playlist, attached to the armband or something else like that. One of his colleagues or teammates had found the other team's playlist, right, and gave it to the coach. And the coach said, time out, and walked it over to the other team. I don't want it. I don't need it. Thank you very much. So what would happen? Very impactful, right? We want to win because we're the better team. We don't want to win because we cheat. And so for him, extremely impactful, and I bet for all of his teammates, extremely impactful. What would have been the other side of that? If they took it, they kept it. They saw, I know exactly what that play is going to be, and how can you use that for your advantage. You have ethical choices each and every day, and so it's what you do about them so will really be the deciding factor if it's ethical or not. We see all the time headlines such as, millions allegedly stolen from small town Minnesota grain elevator spent on hunting safaris and taxidermy. CHS discovers fraud by employee that led to overstated profits. And more locally, Lake Nebagaman treasurer fired after clerk flags payroll issues. Like I said, it doesn't matter. You don't have to look far to find ethical challenges in our society. Doesn't matter the city size, the sport, business. We're conflicted with it all the time. It's what our choices are that we do about it. So we have approximately 20 minutes left. So I want to close with my advice to you. First off is take personal responsibility. Do what you say you're going to do. Just like my parents expected of me, you say what you're going to do, you need to do it. First and foremost, if you're going to make a mistake, which you will, or which you have, own up to it. The best advice I got from a colleague of mine when I was an intern, and I made a mistake, and she said, you know what, you need to go to our supervisor. You need to make sure you tell them what you did, and more importantly, what are you going to do to fix it and prevent it from happening again? That personal responsibility is absolutely critical. Be intentional. Al talks about this all the time with me. Be intentional about where you want to go in life. Be intentional about your own growth and development. Be intentional about who you spend time with. How are you going to use your time? We only have so many hours in the day, and making sure we're very intentional as we go through that day to make the most of it to achieve whatever we want to achieve is absolutely critical. Who's your mentors? Any of you have a mentor? How many of you have a coach? How many of you have a supervisor? How many of you have a good friend that you always talk to about whatever? All forms of mentors. When we talk about growth and development within our context at Elite, we say for growth and development, 70% of your growth comes from experiences, 20% comes from coaches and mentors, and 10% from outside instruction. Find out who are the people that you can talk to. I am a firm believer of having multiple mentors is a good thing. I have a mentor for a variety of things. Career counseling, work-life balance. I want to better understand the industry of X. I want to have a better understanding of finances. It doesn't matter what it is. Who's on the first one I'm going to call to ask that question to or to get advice? Think about who those people are and surround yourself with them. Identify them. And having a different perspective is a good thing. Growth and development, and this comes back into being intentional. You own your growth and development plan. Supervisors are definitely there to help support you, provide tools and resources, but at the end of the day, it's yours. At the end of the day, it's for you to say, what's my plan? What do I need to do to be more effective in my current role? Who do I need to help partner with or help support that moves me forward? Supervisors will come and go. I think I had a stretch of about 8 years. I had about 6 different leaders. I hope it wasn't me. But it's important. So if you think you are going to and have just a one-on-one conversation with your supervisor, that's the only person who knows what your growth and development plans are, and that supervisor changes, you're starting from scratch. So you own it. And I would suggest that you have a multitude of mentors who are out there looking for your career, for you as a person, to help advance to where you need to be. And the final thing is be your authentic you. So I've had many great leaders. Al, Bethany, phenomenal. To name just a couple. We have a whole variety of people that are fantastic leaders. And it's very natural when you come into a job, you want to fill the shoes that the person before you left, right? So Al could have taken an approach, even though there's a few people in between Sandy and Al, that he would say, I'm going to come and fill Sandy's shoes. Well, guess what? Al's not Sandy. Both of them have strong skill sets. But if you ever try to be something that you're not, you will never be as effective as what you could be. So find out who is your authentic you. And finally, don't lose your compass. Your compass is what are the things that are your foundation, your values, your family, whatever else it may be. Don't lose your compass. With that, I'm going to just read this last thing. So as I was thinking about closing statements, I try to keep my eye out for certain things that on occasion I bring down to my girls. So which, again, right, middle school, high school, they're probably like, please, Mom, not another one. But what I gave them was a speech from an ER doctor that spoke at a high school graduation. I'm only going to give you just a little bit of it as it applies to this, because remember I started with talking about Thanksgiving, blessings, having people surround you that are important, that bring you up. And I think this was perfectly said, which really, struck a chord with me. Why let others drag you down with them? The opposite of that is just as true. Why not let good, honorable, happy, successful, and focused people into your life because they will lift you up with them? Make it a lifetime habit as familiar as brushing your teeth. Surround yourself with people who elevate you. Smart choices begin today. Don't be afraid to downsize your circle of friends should that circle be composed of a disproportionate number of members of the wrong crowd. You have but one future. So watch what you put on social media. Watch who you hang out with. Watch the choices you make. And always remember, it is never the wrong time to do the right thing. It's never too late. It's always making sure that you do not lose your compass as you go through your journey in life, I think is absolutely critical. So with that, we have 15 minutes, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Nicole?
Yeah.
Since being environmentally friendly is one of your business's stances, do you guys have plans on being carbon neutral in the future? Or?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Absolutely. So sustainability is something that's absolutely on our mind, and we have already been on a long journey towards that. So you may see a bus around town moving energy forward. So currently, right now, we are absolutely have already transformed our fleet significantly and have increased renewables, wind generation primarily, but some solar. And we have decreased our utilization of coal-based. We're continuing to do that, but we're finding the balance amongst all of our stakeholders. So we have customers, we have a variety of different stakeholders, and we're trying to find the right balance to make sure that we are meeting reliability and cost containment as we work through that. So at the end of the day, what we want to make sure is we're providing energy that's reliable, cost competitive, and certainly working on our way of definitely having less of an impact on the environment. And so we have definitely made great strides, and we'll continue. That's an absolute important thing as we go through here. And we continue to look at as well as our long-term vision. Great question. What else?
In your experience with HR, have you ran into any ethical dilemmas where you had to make a decision and you felt happy with your decision?
So there were a shortage of challenges. The great thing about people is they're great. The downside about people is you sometimes have some challenges, right? So let me think. Right now, so maybe I'll bring up two. Right now we are in the middle of a rescale. Anybody know the term of a rescale? Organizational rescale? It's really changing your whole organization structure, and unfortunately it also means downsizing. So in an effort to make sure we're providing low cost energy to our customers is that we are having to go through some difficult times. Within HR, unfortunately, I'm involved in a number of them. A number of them are close personal friends, right? Or friends of people who are close personal friends. And so it's very difficult. So as you may be working through a process, you recognize we are doing this for the greater good, and it's difficult. Certainly, finding that balance of personal versus business. And so wanting to make sure that we exit people with respect is absolutely critical. But that is one, from my perspective, is a challenging time and one of the difficult times as we think about ethically, finding that balance of, doing the right thing for the organization, but knowing you also, these people are your friends. So it's a good question. The other one is more of an organization. So we have, like I said, over 2,000 employees in total. We have a number of different industries, and we have a number of different vendors or partners that we work with. And so on occasion, what happens if one of the vendors or partners that you have run into their own ethical dilemma, right? Their reputation, they're in the news. And by association, what do you do with it? So that is one that we have recently gone through and have had to have a difficult discussions inside about making sure what are we doing when you are affiliated or a partner or a customer of somebody who is in the news from a So that's two of them. Anyone else? Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation where if you are newly hired onto a job where you're kind of like in a probationary period and get into a situation that's uncomfortable and they don't have an anonymous reporting structure, what would be the best department or
Yeah. So if the issue is with your supervisor, then I would reach out to HR. If the issue is with a peer, I would talk with your supervisor. So definitely HR is a great independent person that you should be able to go to if you run into an ethical dilemma within your work. The other thing is kind of like be careful of the crowd you hang out with. That also goes into a business, right? If you join a business and you start feeling like this is the wrong crowd for me, that I'm not quite so sure that I want to be associated with this kind of business, that's another opportunity for you to deselect. So definitely take that into consideration as you go. It's a great question. Any others? Yeah.
Yeah. Working within HR, how often do you find that issues within your HR have to do with more so rules and regulations other than maybe your own ethical and moral inputs?
Are you saying on behalf of the issues with the HR?
Yeah, so what amount of it is more kind of like cut and dry through regulations, rules that you have to follow, and what amount is more so your own individual input and experience?
Broadly speaking, conflict within the workplace, and this might not be exactly what you're asking, but I'll answer this and we'll go back to it. Broadly speaking, I would say the vast majority of conflict in the workforce is generally due to a lack of role clarity. What does that mean? That means I'm expecting you to do that, you're expecting me to do this, and if we are not aligned of what it actually is, you're irritated, I'm irritated, and everybody's irritated, right? And then it festers. So I would definitely say the vast majority is not anyone intentionally doing something bad or breaking rules. I would say generally it is a lack of role clarity that causes work groups to have disruption. Certainly, are there some things that we have to deal with that are breaking the rules? Yes. Somebody violating a policy, somebody doing something like that. Yes, those I would say are lesser. Any other questions?
Nicole, can you just comment on mentors? If the student wants to be an HR professional in Duluth or in Minneapolis, how might they go about building that network of mentors?
Yeah, so that's great. So first off, don't overthink mentors. Don't say that just because a company may not have a formal mentorship programs that prohibits you from having a mentor. It could start off with a call with somebody or somebody you meet. So whether you are in Fuse Duluth or if you have speakers coming into your classes to whatever else it may be, you figure out if you want to have advice with somebody. It is as simple as saying, hey, I'd love to get your perspective on X. Reaching out and asking. Certainly there are definitely formal mentorship programs, which I would say definitely look into. But don't overthink it. Ask a question. Do you have some time? I think that would be great. And again, whether it be within your sector, HR, your provision, or just generally in life, I think that's the best way to go. It's a great question. Yes?
So do you feel like it was more the culture of Elite when you were interning? That it was the culture or the job that you were more attracted to, that why you stayed?
Definitely you get into the job because you want money. And you want to have an environment in which you're like, okay, can I be successful at this? Once you get into that basic premise, like, do I have enough money to feed my family? Do I have benefits that I can take care of it? After that, it's all culture. I stayed because of the culture. I have good things to do. I get involved in a whole lot of really cool things. They believe in me. That's a good place to be. It's kind of like my family, right? Do I have a house over my head? Do I have food on the table? Okay, great. And then it's, what am I going to do? So definitely, I think from a culture perspective, culture will win out all day long, provided some basic foundational things are met.
Well,
All right.
Thanks, Nicole.
All right.